the number 1 overall pick, you guys. The Bears have arrived. Welcome to the show, Chicago. Not only did they get the best number 1 pick we've seen in a while, Caleb Williams, a generational talent, but with their number 9 pick, instead of getting an edge rusher, which is something they needed, and I think past Bears, that might be something that they would go for, they went and got a top-tier weapon for Caleb. Washington's wide receiver, Rome Odunze. And what I love is you could already see the chemistry between these two guys at the draft. We know that they were on the same plane to Detroit because Caleb tweeted, "Yo, just saw Rome on my flight to Detroit. Big fan." And then we saw him kind of like goofing around backstage at the draft. But like, let's dig into why this is such a big deal for the Bears in Chicago, because they have never had that guy at quarterback. They've never had a quarterback throw more than 4,000 yards in a season. They've never had a quarterback throw 30 touchdown passes in a season. Yeah. So what Caleb Williams could mean for this city and this franchise is something we have never seen before in Chicago. What's the vibe in the building?
I grew up in Chicago.
I know.
This iteration of the Chicago Bears. I said this on Gojo and Golik. I was on the other morning. I don't know her. I don't know these Chicago Bears. I've never seen Chicago Bears like this.
It's exciting.
On paper, with the offensive firepower they have, it looks like they're finally going to break those records, which have become commonplace. 4,000-yard passers is like the standard for a good quarterback this year, or these days.
Yeah.
30 touchdown passes is not something that should be aspired to. But even Rome Odunze was told what the Bears receiving record is. Receiving yards record is. And it was set a long time ago, 3,800 yards, something like that. And he's like, in a career?
Yeah.
That's literally how he said it, because it was so unbelievable there's so many offensive records that just are such low-hanging fruit.
Because they've been living in the past. They're like 1985, best defense in history.
And it has been an organizational identity.
Yeah.
Defense has been an organizational identity for my entire life.
Yeah.
And even before that. So this could mean fun football in Chicago. I love football for the grittiness of it, for the toughness of it, for the violence of it all. That's why Lance Briggs is my favorite player. But that is not the fun, flashy football that we see now.
No.
And the Bears have never been fun and flashy. That's never been them. But then you bring in a guy like Caleb Williams, who is the definition of fun and flashy and productive and confident. The call of him getting the call, Ryan Poles was like, they're making me wait 5 minutes on this, or wait till the 5-minute mark to do this. But like it was so it was so uneventful, because these guys have been talking and they've known that this was the case for months.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Chicago to have something to celebrate, but I want to caution against having these expectations right away.
No.
On paper, they look amazing. They look like they could contend for the division. They look like they're a playoff team, all of that stuff.
Do you think they're a playoff team?
I think that they
Year
will
one
flirt.
with Caleb?
I will think they will flirt with playoff contention.
Okay.
But I don't want that to be the expectation.
I mean, that's going to be the expectation with all the hype around a generational talent like Caleb.
I don't like calling him a generational talent either. I don't like it at all. We have these that's what everybody was saying Trevor Lawrence was. And Trevor Lawrence is a great player, but when you put the label of generational on these guys, you're putting so much pressure on them. And in a city like Chicago that is a football town through and through, despite their lack of recent success, I don't want those expectations on this group, especially because they're all new.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen is new.
Yep.
Rome Odunze, new. Caleb Williams, new. They've got new offensive linemen. They've got a new offensive DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
They've got a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You need to give these guys time to figure it out, and you need to make sure that the defense is what you think it is and what it was in the back half of last season, which was a top 5 unit.
Yeah.
That, as long as you see that progress and the way that they're kind of gelling, and by the end of this next season, if they look like a playoff caliber team, whether or not their record reflects it.
So you're saying year 2. Give it to year 2.
Yes,
Let's see what happens in
what
year
I'm
1.
saying is hold off judgment, hold off expectations until
hard.
year 2. It is.
I don't know
Patience
if
is
that's
not a
gonna
thing
happen.
in the NFL.
No. Especially with all of the hype around a guy like Caleb Williams.
And especially with on paper, the roster, because you look at these guys and yes, the Bears have DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and then Rome Odunze is your wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
That already, he could be the best wide receiver 3 in the entire league. But I don't want to put that expectation on him.
You're coming to the NFL. All the expectation is going to be on you, especially when you had the number 1 overall pick and you're a team that has never had a quarterback throw more than 4,000 yards or never had 30 touchdown passes in a season. Yeah, there are going to be high expectations regardless.
Which is wild to me because the bar is so low. Yeah. That's where I'm coming from.
I'm just saying, like, break those, like, success.
Exactly.
Success. Have an exciting season. Compete.
Exactly. That is what I want. I don't want to put playoff expectations. I don't want to put division expectations, especially when you're in a division with the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and then whatever Minnesota ends up being. Dude, this could be the toughest division.
This might
be
the tough.
It's going to rival the AFC North.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put expectations of
there's
hardware.
There is hard expectations.
I don't want to put those on them. I just don't want to do it.
And this team. Yeah. Well,
but to his credit, he's not shying away from it.
No, and he shouldn't. That's why I think it's going to work out. He knows, again, he came from a big time school. He's had big time awards. And he's an NIL guy who's made big time money already.
And I do think his transition to the league will be a little bit easier because of that. I think just in general, these guys taking accountability for themselves, their careers, and being businessmen really aids in transitioning to the NFL lifestyle. But on the field, I mean, Caleb's coming out of the Pac-12. Listen, I'm a Pac-12 girl. I went to Arizona State. I am under no illusions of how hard the Pac-12 is. It's not. So now you are not going up against SEC competition. You're not even going up against some of the big time players, big hitters in the Big Ten. You are going up against the Pac-12 for the most part.
With a horrible defense.
With a horrible.
So he literally got owned.
Yes.
Like, he got destroyed.
And I think that's good because that gives him a little bit of adversity. You're going to face adversity with the Chicago Bears in year one. That is what the NFL is about. It is a when, not if, when it comes to facing adversity.
Oh, yeah.
How he reacts, that's when I think I will have more expectations of Caleb Williams, is after seeing how he reacts to the inevitable adversity that will happen in his first year in Chicago.
I'm just so excited.